We are recording.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call this regular scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, December 21st of 2022. When do you guys want to start it off?
Upon review of the commission minutes on October 19th, 2022 and November 16th, 2022, move to approve as presented and waive the reading.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Motion does carry.
Upon, excuse me. Upon review of estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, I move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion does carry.
Upon submission of the budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion does carry.
Upon review of invoices as submitted by various departmental offices, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Motion also carries. Terms of office expiring, we need to accept the resignation of James Arthur Taylor as Secretary and ex officio as Historical Society and Genealogical Society Representative, one-year term.
We did receive notice from Mr. Taylor that because of his work and taking care of his mother, he will not be able to continue his service on the society. So with understanding and all that good nature, I'll make a motion to accept that resignation.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? The motion also carries. Do we have an appointment for that position?
We have a recommendation from the, give me just 1 second. I got that piled in knowledge. We do have a recommendation. Really, it is the Historical and Genealogical Society's representative, but I think it is appropriate that we approve of that.
Is this one?
And it's a Mr. Joseph Strickland,
Okay.
lives here in Summersville, and he is the current secretary and likely going to be the president of the Historical and Genealogical Society. So, and he said he's willing to serve on the Historic Landmark Commission board.
Okay.
So I'll make that motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? That motion also carries. All right. Looks like we're down to our 9 o'clock appointment, and our senator hasn't shown yet.
The senator sends his regrets. I'm starting to sound like Ben Spurlock. But because of his work that's not finished until the end of the calendar year in Greenbrier County, he could not make it here this morning. So likely in the middle of the session, he'll try to make it down, and I told him we'd also try to make a trip down to the Capitol and find him on his own turf.
Okay, that's
So-
fine. All right, let's just take a couple minute break. We're gonna record again.
Recording in progress.
Okay. The next item up is at my request. We have two financial requests here. The first one is from the Nicholas County Board of Education concerning alternative one, or alternate one on Richwood School Gymnasium. And that was to make this gymnasium a little bit larger so it would have a larger seating capacity and would be able to hold sectional tournament games there. Okay. And I would like to see the commission donate or give some money to this contingent upon the Board of Education following through. Okay. You want to speak on that too?
Yeah, I've been reached out to by many board members, the superintendent, community members. You know, Homeland Security, different county entities would be eligible to use these facilities. We are where we are with the schools. And somehow I do feel that we are all responsible to try and make something happen to just get these schools built and get our kids back into a normal school setting. I know the request of the commission, from what I understand, is $100,000. Is that what you all understand too?
That's correct.
I think it'd be something for the commission to consider, the contribution of $100,000 contingent, strictly contingent. That, I believe it should only go towards alternate one, which I guess that's the only one really on the table anyways. The alternate two, they can always knock a hole in the wall and build on. And I hope they need to one day. And that, the city itself, community groups, whoever can come up with the rest. Because to my understanding, it's a $511,000 project all in.
Yes.
But I don't want, I want to make clear my position, and I mean, everybody can speak for themselves,
Yeah.
that this is a commitment contingent. I don't want to give any false hope that this might happen should the other funds not be raised. And also, for the commission's benefit, we need to strongly keep in mind the commitment we are making for one school complex when another one's coming up in 3 months.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind for all of us.
I agree.
Says the contingent on what?
It's
The
contingent.
remaining $411,000 we fundraised.
It's contingent upon the Board of Education voting to go forward with that project.
Yeah. And the project totally funded.
The other entities come to the table as well.
Right.
Not
Right.
just that they vote to do it, but,
Right. And I mean, if we have to meet with city leaders, board members, community group members, whatever, I mean, this is extremely unprecedented of a county commission to even consider this. However, I feel it is appropriate, but I think that it's gonna have to, I think really what we need to push for is the entire community to rally behind this. There's been a lot of concerns of other government entities going to a government entity. We give money to government entities every day of the week. And so that doesn't concern me whatsoever. But when they get 74 cents of every one of our dollars, this is tough.
We just made them $100,000 the other day.
Well, that's right, in this pilot.
Yeah,
A year.
That's a year for 30 years. That's right.
that's true. Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't think we can count that towards this project. I agree, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I don't think we can count it towards this project because, of course, construction won't be done until the end of '24.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. You have a motion to do that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to commit $100,000 of ARP funds, contingent upon, this all goes towards alternate number one on the Richwood School Gymnasium, contingent upon the remaining funds being fundraised elsewhere.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Let's have a discussion.
Okay.
I think you're leaving a little bit too broad on your continuance.
Okay.
I think we need to narrow this down to say we're the last money in, not the first. That all the other money has to be committed before we're gonna commit.
I'll amend my motion for that.
Um,
But at least people know it's at least on the table now.
It's on the table.
To try and be the first money
And
in.
it's, that's it,
Right,
not another dollar,
right,
100,000.
right.
And all other things that need to be exhausted. I understand how they're doing and why they're doing, they're trying to raise, I do get that, and why they're not going back to the SBA or spending their own money. But we need to make it clear that this is it. I mean, when they come in here and ask for 300,000 for Glade Creek, it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
$500,000 is a lot of money to spend to expand the gym a few hundred feet, or not even a few hundred feet.
A few
Yeah,
feet.
a few feet.
Okay.
That's 500 grand, that really, to me, shouldn't even be spent. But there's also ways that I feel like you could work with the contractor and get this money.
Okay.
But, yeah, we're not writing a check to them. And another thing is apparently they can't show it as their money. So if we give it directly to them, it becomes their money and they're doing the same thing. So how do you designate that
Mhm.
as, do you see where I'm coming from?
That's true. No, that's true, absolutely.
And also, you know, the other entities have got to put up their money too. And
Yeah.
I don't think the city of Richwood's will. So this may die.
On the vine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yes, I will amend my motion to be the last dollar in. But of course, with the commitment, the other funds are raised.
Okay.
Pending how we figure out how the money would actually be dispersed. That's Commissioner Chapman mentioned. Because that's true. I mean, we don't want to write a check and it not work anyways and just get our money back.
Okay.
That's true.
All right. Yeah. Are we ready to vote?
I am.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion does carry on that. Okay. The second request that I have is from Mayor Johnson for Richwood for additional funding towards the sidewalk repair project. That sidewalk repair project is going to extend all the way to basically the park, where the old Park Place Exxon is at, on the upper end. And
Where does it start? That's always been the controversy.
it probably starts close to where my office is at.
Like the intersection?
My office, that's all relatively right in front of my office.
Right.
I thought it was way further up than that,
On that,
like a Rosewood Florist or somewhere.
that area wasn't done. It'll start basically where the old one, but I think, I'm not.
So yeah, so
Okay.
include like your office, the community park, all the way.
It'll go all the
back.
way up through there, okay?
Yeah.
And that project, was gonna run around $1 million, okay? And I do have a letter here, from the, basically, Schroeder Foundation. And, they're also pledging $25,000 for this project, okay? And they're asking us to do the same, to finish, which will get the money. The state has said that will give them enough funding that they will be able to finish this project out. And this is also one of the projects that, as you know, the price of concrete has risen quite a bit.
Astronomically.
Okay, but that should finish that. The engineers that came in and looked at that initially, and then they were back again and changed their minds, and they wanted some other stuff done. And-
Now concerning the remaining amounts from the funds, is that like state DOT?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's actually why I'm here early, because I'm familiar with the project.
Okay.
So the Department of Highways funded the initial design, and they're funding the construction. But because of the cost increase, you know, there's a shortage. And so the DOH will fund up to 80%. And then the city actually did some fundraising to provide the 20% match. So they are able to contribute $60,000 themselves. So what they're just looking for is to fill the gap. And essentially, if the commission will fund the $25,000, the Cherry River Foundation is matching it, 50-50.
So, it sounds like to me, and I just want to clarify, this should be the last financial request of the commission.
Yes,
The sidewalks are built, the project's complete.
yes.
Okay,
What did we give
Unless the
them
bids
on
come in.
25.
I mean, that's,
we have,
you know, if you have an overrun when you get your bids,
right.
you never know.
And this is just the upper side.
Part of the lower side was done. I know out through, from the corner out past, or out through the post office was done previously.
If you don't mind, excuse me, we're just going to get a financial statement from Bob.
Is the Cherry River Foundation putting any money towards school fund?
Possibly. In that conversation. Probably. So much a year. Kind of thought someone was doing.
Sorry, I requested a financial statement.
Okay.
Bobby's working on it,
Okay.
unless you already voted.
No.
Okay. I was out for a minute, so I just didn't want to miss it.
No.
I mean, and I'm not questioning the city, but I am questioning the DOT.
Mhm.
I mean, we contribute, again, the Cherry River Foundation contribute,
Mhm.
they're gonna build it. We have that in an agreement of some sort.
I don't know that the documentation is formalized, but that is my understanding, is that they're gonna provide the other funds. Like I said, the only variable, I mean, so the DOH, you know, they hired the engineer to design it, and they have their anticipated construction cost estimate, but the only variable is when the bids come in. You know, that's always a little bit of a gamble if there's an overrun. Hopefully, there's a contingency built into the budget, though, to support that. But otherwise, you know, it's estimated that the funds would be sufficient.
Yeah. It's crazy times we're in. We went from extremely stable to extremely unstable.
Yes.
Okay.
He said he'll be a minute on that financial statement. I mean, you know, we know where we're at with ARP, coal severance, whatever. I mean, I'm willing to consider it, but I think what we might consider is contingent on a written agreement that once we contribute, that's it. You know, well, and just for the fairness of the citizens of Richwood, it's finally built. And the city of Richwood's worked their backside off, Region 4's worked their backside off, nothing, you know, but just, you know, where's the light at the end of the tunnel, and are we gonna have to expect more financial requests? Well.
Okay.
And maybe what the DOH would do is if the bids came in over, maybe they would just like pull back the scope a little bit. Maybe just can't take it, like the final.
Once you
10
get
feet or
down
whatever.
towards Exxon, once it gets down to street level, that would be possible.
Yeah, it gets cheaper.
Yeah,
It's-
well, it gets
that
cheaper.
midsection's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, of course, that's what needs it probably the most.
Yeah, okay.
But the city, they may have to, not 100%
You might
sure,
look at this later.
but they may have to like be able
That's
to
why I
tell the
know.
DOH that they have the match before the DOH will actually formalize their
Yeah, I think you just
contribution.
need to, if you make the motion, Garrett, just make the motion that this is for the extension, not the original plan.
Okay. And you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. When do they need an answer by? Or do we know?
I'm really not sure. I would just anticipate that the DOH wouldn't contribute like their 80%
Well, yeah, we don't wanna hold this up.
Yeah.
until the 20% is there in full, so.
And when you said $1 million, does that mean $1 million total for the whole job?
Yeah.
It's not $1 million?
Engineering and everything. Wow.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's tricky.
That's a lot.
You know, there's
that's
buildings uphill from it, and
A lot of stuff
there's a lot there.
Okay, it really is. Well, I looked at,
There's a lot there.
I looked at just the design on, what they were looking at, doing some things, around where White Street comes in up there, which is beside the Cherry River Bank, what
Mhm.
that used to be. And, there's a lot of design and, you know, stuff that went into that, as far as, looking at making some of that area wheelchair accessible, things like that. It's done, it'll be done the correct way.
All right.
Yeah, DOH is like super specific about the way
Mhm.
things have to be done, so it'll be all managed under their division.
Unless y'all have anything else, I will make a motion to contribute $25,000 of ARP funds.
Let's go Cold Seven.
Huh?
He wants to go cold servers.
I disagree with that.
Okay. I'm just trying to save the ARP.
Well, we got to spend it with 24.
Yeah.
Well, before I make a motion, I guess, should we decide on what we want to take it out of?
We're probably gonna be, I don't know what exactly it is, it's just 25 Gs. I mean, we're
Well-
probably expecting half a million.
Okay. Because we're about 3 million right now,
Some of that's coming.
uncommitted. After committed, yeah, because only about half's committed. And we just got an extra 300,000 thanks to Lindsay.
We'll just take it where, because cold services will get better.
Well, that's good. Okay.
We can do contributions out of coal sections, right?
Obviously, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, as my Christmas present to Commissioner Chapman, I will make a motion.
You're gonna pay yourself?
Yeah, to take a $25,000 contribution towards this project, pending the $25,000 from the Cherry River Foundation, and pending some sort of status update in writing from the DOT of where we're at, how close we are to actual construction and completion of this project. And again, out of coal severance.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Motion does carry. Okay. Let's see, it's 9:30. Time flies when we're having fun. At the request of Commissioner Cove. Okay.
Up front, we do have the presentation from the Nicholas County Community Foundation. Unfortunately, Director Mullins came down with the flu, so we wish her and her family a quick recovery. And so she's not here to present that, but to explain for the public's benefit, the Nicholas County Parks and Recreation Commission did receive a grant from the Nicholas County Community Foundation. The total amount of $10,000. What that is for the electrical upgrades around where the fair's food vendors are, installing the electrical stands, as like you see right here at the pavilion with the city and what Richwood has in certain locations for the high amperage food vendors, as well as metal trash receptacles with range shields on top of them. And also just to recognize the Community Foundation twice, they also gave a grant through the Summersville Rotary Club of $10,000 towards the park pool, which goes towards a machine sweeper, so you don't have to sweep by hand that entire pool, which is about, I think, a $3,600 piece of equipment, and the rest will go towards the commercial seating and furniture. And so, of course, Commissioner Chapman being in Rotary, we thank Commissioner Chapman and all of Rotary for applying on our behalf. But of course, with the mayor not being with us, that's all I can really talk to on that one.
Okay.
The review of Phase 2. We've talked about it. I've tried to warn you about it. It's a little bit longer than the Phase 1 requests. But the procedure I wanted to go through this time was that the park board approved this. We bring it to the commission, see what projects you basically deem worthy of commission consideration as for funding, and then once we kind of come to an agreement of the list itself, the park can go receive bids and then come back, and depending on the bids would be when we actually ask for full commitment of any kind of funding whatsoever. But this is just an idea of what we found. We've tried to pick up all loose ends, overturned all stones, so that we just do this one last time and we quit asking money for a while. And just complete off this project. And, you know, Indian Rocks, we talked about before, doing some upgrades. I believe that's some upgrades the park we ourselves can mostly handle. It's more minimal than I thought.
That's good.
So there'll be, I doubt there'll be hardly any requests from that park. But of course, with our budget, we can't really add on more staffing to handle 2 parks. And so this, I believe, would just bring us up to a good standard and, set things up for a while. You're
Yeah.
never done. You're never
Well,
done, but.
And you aren't. And I'd like to state that we've done a lot of work at the park this year that badly needed done.
Absolutely.
And it's fortunate, that we received the monies from the feds with, COVID related, that has enabled us to do some badly needed upgrades and to get this up to where it should be. Okay. And, certainly will help cut some of the maintenance down for several years down the road, getting us what we're done, okay, which will, and make it nicer for the people of Nicholas County and the surrounding communities.
That's right.
That come in to see and use this facility, okay?
That's right.
Which will, in the long run, which will help us all out, okay? Which is part of why we're here, okay?
Right.
We're all in it together, folks, okay? To solve our county's issues, okay?
That's right. But just to run through quickly, because I know it's a long list, the Pine Lodge Cabin, which is located, if you're going towards the stadium on the right there, it has the extremely large Santa right now. That whole building just needs renovated, painted inside and out. The kitchen's basically gone. I think we need to put a kitchen back in it because it's the most rented facility at the park. Outside doors are rotten, stuff like that. The DNR building is falling apart. The floor is rotten, the foundation is crumbling. It is old cinder blocks. And so that, and please note, there's a request of a quote on a 24 by 40 metal building to replace that. We don't need a concrete slab, so trying to save as much as, we're not trying to ask for the moon and stars. And the quilting club of the county or city
4-H.
or what?
4-H.
4-H quilting club has the opportunity to get a free building. They have to find a place to put it. And so that's why you'll see there, that's a potential site for that quilting club building to be located, potentially. The schoolhouse, we've been in discussions with the Genealogical Society, which put the facility on the park. But as we all know, and the fair can attest, whenever you put something on the park, the county owns it from there on, because we insure it. And there are just a number of small repairs on that. The horse ring, we have different groups, and Manager Stover can probably speak to this better than I, that are talking about long-term leases throughout the year to actually bring in regular events. That one, depending on what we discussed here today, I'm willing to put on the back burner, depending on getting some sort of a actual commitment from those groups of saying, hey, you upgrade it, we will use it. Because nothing against the horse ring, but I don't think it's a vital thing. That could always be addressed later if we can't get a commitment.
I've seen, I know my daughter went to school in Lexington, and there's quite a bit of horses and stuff that they bring in there and do events. I've seen that happen.
Well, and the one this year, how many contestants, how many trailers, how do you?
They filled the bottom up.
I didn't get to make it because of family-related issues, but they had one this year, and like Sally said, it was.
And they still filled the field.
Right, because this group that's wanting to come in, they can use our facility to do a qualifier. So once they qualify so many points, they can go to a regionals, blah, 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 blah. The cabin bathrooms and heaters, and that's supposed to be water heaters. So the Boy Scouts redid the cabins, the main halls of the cabins, but they never did the bathrooms. And they don't need major upgrades, but they do need upgrades. Every single one of them needs a hot water tank, just different stuff like that. The manager's house does need a roof. We was hoping we was getting 3 or 4 years out of it and started leaking. So right now we have it tarped, and I do think that one is pretty important just to preserve that facility. Need roofs on the garage and the gas shed, which is just the garage beside the garage. Commissioner Chapman's brought up, and I want to give absolute credit where credit is due, but I would like to see, with his advisement, the consideration of a large American flag to be put on the front of the park, to make Northside's flag look like this one. I don't know what kind of budget we're gonna run into, but, we're willing to explore those options and try and find what would anything be reasonable, but, we put a lot into sports, we put a lot into things, but we gotta remember the park was given for the benefit of the kids and the recognition of our veterans. Entrance lighting, basically, we're gonna have to run new conduit with wiring from behind the memorial, or just drop a service meter somewhere.
Yeah.
And so just either one, and we can try and figure out what, we have the light fixtures, we have the poles, we just need the wiring to get them hooked up.
We're gonna get some more lighting around the dining hall there.
Yes, we can do that as
Okay,
well.
That really needs lit up.
We can do that
Obviously,
around the parking
This
lot.
last event where we had the lighting, I was out there, and it's still quite dark.
Sure.
And I actually had an accident there the last time
Yeah,
on that because of the darkness, couldn't
Yeah.
see stuff.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
and that's,
And we missed
mm-hmm.
the time we went up there over the school thing, we lighted it since then.
Well, I was there, I parked it in there, and I.
Yeah, well,
I
we've got
felt
the front.
really uneasy about
We need
that
to-
having been an
we do need to
accident
light
there.
the side
That one needs
still.
adjusted,
Okay.
Yeah, it
put on
needs-
the front.
Right.
Where, like I say, you just can't see.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's been adjusted, right? They tilted it, to try and get it out towards the road more, where we don't have any poles.
And you still have some lights, don't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
We have about 8 extra in storage. They, two or three can be put
I need to
down.
get them put up before they get legs,
For the what?
before they get legs.
They run off.
Oh, understood,
They disappear. Okay.
understood.
Okay.
Street fence replacement, I actually was able to get $2 per post, so 20 brand new, 6-inch fence posts, treated fence posts that were actually used for guardrails when we're at 20. Unfortunately, the contractors paved too many layers, or I don't understand paving, and they had brand new guardrail that had to be taken up, taller posts to be put up, and brand new guardrail put up. And so they're 5-foot posts, they have a hole drilled through them, but that you can flip that upside down, put it in the ground, and have a nice 3-foot post that's uniform like the state parks all the way around. And like I said,
Yeah.
what's that?
On the inside.
Correct. And so we might just need a little bit of help on equipment rental on something like that, but we can try and lump as much together as we can, or contractor do it, but I think we're capable.
Or you can buy an auger for
Yeah.
the new tractor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, so that might be what we consider. The red barn remodel, this is just a request, I mean, if we're willing to consider what it would cost, is actually upgrading the interior facilities of first level to make it more of a rentable facility. It's actually never been rented in the last 15 years until we got the Apple folks to come in and rent it. And so that's just kind of like an asset that's just kind of sitting there. And then the sidewalks, we do need to consider some changes in those designs. They're cracked up, broken up, and also a number of trip hazards right there. Dirt work, we got to get rid of the DNR building and landscape it to where it can be mowable again. There's a lot of brush and wood piles and dirt piles, or just, I don't even know what piles, behind the garage that I'd like to have removed and or used for fill for the building if we would go that far. And then just, you gotta do your site prep for the metal building. Parking, I want to expand it. Right now it's from the fair gate to the red box. I want to redo it and expand it all the way to the pine trees on the right, because people are parking there anyways and it's a muddy mess. But I mean, we just don't have enough parking, so it's no one's fault. We need to do a better parking lot at Pine Lodge because of its rental use, I believe. And we'll have to put the gravel for the metal building should we proceed in the parking, like a work yard in front of it. Just try and get the equipment back behind everything and maybe even fence it out one day. The playgrounds, we need to give in and buy some mulch. We got a quote for like $5,000 and scared the life out of us, but I don't think we're gonna get anything better. Because you have to use certain mulch for those
Some of that
facilities.
mulch, if it's not actually mulch, if it's rubber, it's 2 or 3 times the cost.
Yeah.
But it lasts for years, and it
Oh,
lasts
yes.
much longer.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
And that was a wood quote for $5,000,
Yeah,
which,
yeah, well, the other would probably been 10 or 15.
yeah,
Okay?
we didn't even ask for one.
It's like everything, you get what you pay for. Okay?
Well, that's true, longevity.
The longevity on the other is just longer.
And then I actually do get the distinct pleasure of striking the batting cage building requests as Little League has come up with their own funding.
Uh-huh.
And they will take care of the roof on that building and adding a porch for people who are not using the cages to step outside. So there's one lesson.
Yeah.
Is that the big metal building?
Yes,
That shouldn't need a roof. That's not that old.
I haven't inspected it. because I was gonna inspect it whenever we went to get quotes, because we just have so many different quotes we can get at the same time. But I don't understand.
It might just need, if it's got some leaks, it could
Just might
just
need
need some,
patched.
well, no, the screws that those are put on will back out, or the gasket will rot a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes
And
those
that's
need
really-
replaced.
You're right.
Or tightened down. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine that building's not but 15 years old, it's
If-
very.
Okay.
The screws will back out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And any metal roof, you can have issues with it backing out like that. I had one I found on my place down south.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, that was backed out, I was up
Right.
on it looking at it.
But yeah, I'll get a hold of Little League and have them.
Well, yeah, even
Verify that quote.
Eric would probably have enough sense to get up on there and find that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So,
With what we're spending here to upgrade these, and certainly I think there will be more rental potential for those down the road, which then could also help maintain
Well, that's
what
it.
we're
I
getting
mean, you
done
know,
here. The
this
money coming
year,
in will help maintain these facilities better, okay? Because, you know, I can tell you, and you guys know, that the county had gone through some really tough times.
Absolutely.
And we're very fortunate to have had this COVID money,
absolutely.
okay, to do the projects with that were sorely needed for our county, okay?
Absolutely. Well, and I'll be the first to admit, this year, I was hoping to make the park more self-sustainable. I think we made some strides, but not very many. I mean, I'll just be straight up. And so, you know, we're not quite there yet. I think we're on the right path. I know, as for just for a small example, donations on Christmas lights. You know, last year and the year before, they did good to make $500 a year. We're averaging that a night. So I mean, last night was $537. I sat in the booth last night, but something like that. But anyways, we're moving, making things happen, but not at the rate I had originally hoped. And so,
Well, usually things
Regardless
take
of that.
longer, not shorter.
well, that's true. Well, and then regardless, these are our facilities, and they're going to rot or they're going to
Uh-huh.
be fixed. And so,
Yes,
I mean,
they are. And it's our
uh,
responsibility to take care of it
Right.
when we can. Okay.
this, with all this said and done, this we need to tie in with the long-term plan that we need to make for the park that we're working on right now.
Well, and so maybe, because
a lot
of
this
course,
stuff, you might decide to put a building here, but it ain't gonna work there. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
well, and so
we need
maybe
to
what we
tie it in.
consider is, of course, most of this probably can't be done in the wintertime anyways. Consider this like the second meeting in February.
Yeah, and
I'll be willing to do that.
we're probably gonna have a proposal, I've already seen the proposal put on our next agenda. I'm gonna have the park flown,
Yes.
and have, drones map out everything and topo it and things for, so we can put it all together with one big plan.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. So yeah, keep a hold of these. I'm fine with that. I think that's a very good idea.
That way we
As we're
only have to do it
planning.
once.
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Okay.
So this is what the park board's approved. I'll just notify them we're gonna table it for an amount of time and we'll regroup. But I think that is appropriate. I do think that is appropriate. So thank you for all the time on that. Now, concerning the Homeland Security property disposal, Commissioner Chapman did get a hold of a local surveyor, and we don't probably have a copy of that here, do we? The changes of the lots
The lots are gonna sell.
on the McClung House.
No,
Okay,
no, but they do have it staked out.
yes.
Okay.
I walked the property, and I actually do think that is pretty good planning.
Mhm.
The 1, 2, 3,
Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
right. So we're leaving the one hole and splitting the 1, well, the 2 and the 3. The house behind it and the flat. So I think that's good.
For the public, let's explain what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah. The
Okay.
McClung House on Church Street, the commission purchased it with its acreage. Planning to build a 911 center, well, we don't need it now. Thank goodness for Commissioner Chapman, Commissioner Atkins, working it out with GSA, that we were the recipients of the old post office for $1. We just don't need it. Like everybody else, we're having cost overruns with technology, blah, 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 blah. I don't think we need to keep a hold of a facility we can't use. And of course, that money could be much more better spent on technology for a new center. The Homeland Security budget did pay for this building, this home and the property. And of course, I think it needs to go back to
Go
it.
back into it.
Earmarked specifically for new center technology and facility or furniture, whatever's needed. But I know that I walked the property. I agree with what Commissioner Chapman and the surveyor decided on. And if we're comfortable with it, I'd like to see us move it to auction whenever the auctioneer thinks we need to schedule.
That's what I was gonna say, let's find out when the best time to do it is.
Okay,
You know, right now may not be the best
This
time,
time.
right.
but then again, it may be. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's get the advice of what everybody seems to think is the best thing.
Okay.
I was hoping Greg was gonna be here for this. Because one thing we might consider with that is go ahead and approve. There's really only one, I mean, all county and city governments pretty much don't have a choice but to use Joe
An
Powell.
auctioneer.
Well, yeah, it's auctioned off and it's just Joe
Uh-huh.
Powell.
Okay.
And perhaps we even commit to putting the property to auction. Time frame set upon agreement with the auctioneer.
Let's just make it as all surplus property at auction. Because.
Well, and I've talked to the sheriff and he's totally accepting. Once, and the titles aren't ready on some of them, so if the property can wait, that'd actually probably be a good thing. To allow for all of that to be ready to auction as well.
Just get it there.
Yeah,
And then everything that's inside that little fence. You know,
Yes.
There's stuff inside there.
Yes.
So what we need to do is just, if you wanna make a motion, we need a motion that we get rid of all surplus property that we feel needs to be moved.
how about this? Let me make a motion that we do hold an auction, and I've already received a contract agreement with Joe Powell, Complete Auction and Realty Service of Shinston, West Virginia, of all surplus property of the commission, and I would like to include the park with that as well, because we have a few vehicles and stuff that I think we just need to dump, thanks to the contribution from the commission.
Yeah.
And, you know, we revisit at a later date with the commission on when we formally announce when the auctions will take
Auction's gonna
place.
be- Yeah,
How about that?
that's fine. Okay.
Greg, we're talking about getting rid of the McClung home,
Yes.
as well as some of the vehicles and stuff like that. I made a motion to work with Joe Powell. Pretty much have to, and all the cities and counties already do. And that we'll announce the date of the auction later pending their advice. Do you have any issue with that?
Not at all.
Did I miss anything?
I think you're
I just
right.
want to make sure I don't
The
tell
city
them.
just went through that and did very well.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But like
We're not gonna do
Commissioner,
that one.
like Commissioner Chapman said though, if
That
we
was a
might, there might be
gift.
a better timing to wait for, to put it to auction, rather than in 45 days, it might want to be spring or something. And for the record, the house had been winterized, heat's left on, but I had Rodney winterize all the plumbing.
That's good.
So just one less thing to worry about.
That's true. You don't wanna, okay. So that is your motion?
It is.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against that motion does carry. Okay.
And then for the financial request from the airport authority, I actually have not received what the request is gonna be. I didn't take it off the agenda because I didn't know if I'd get one.
Yeah.
Do we just want to table that, or do we need to? I gotta look to you all on this one. I'm not sure where we're at on that. I know that, of course, they have the agreement with Jaeger to,
There is gonna be some money that's needed, but I think until we come up with a specific dollar figure, when and where, I
okay.
think we need to revisit that in another meeting.
Okay.
And-
Chuck Shaw contacted me and asked me to put it on the agenda,
And-
so I mean, I didn't mind to do it, but of
And
course.
the
I
next
had-
meeting will be in January. You know, it's gonna be probably our second meeting in January.
Okay.
Okay, on Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So basically, if they have the meeting then, you know, it'll probably realistically be the 1st of February, first meeting in February. Okay? Unless they can come together with a number in between.
Yeah, I think that was,
Present to you.
well, and that's what we gotta see.
what it's coming down
Their
to
source.
is, there's a large bill that's owed to Jaeger.
All
Yes.
right.
Well, the previous CEO of Jaeger just kept saying, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We know their money's not there to work. Well, the new CEO says, we want our money.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And basically, it's come down to an audit situation. So I know there was talk about taking some of the money from building commission.
Mhm.
The problem with that is, we're probably gonna run into some overruns down here that I was gonna figure to use some of that
Mhm.
money for,
Understood.
because it's already their building. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Understood.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Understood.
But,
Would that be something that, you know, you want to do before the end of the year with a special meeting, a Zoom meeting or something like that? If you come up with a number.
it might have to be, I know the figure that they need is somewhere around 160,000.
Okay. Well, I think we need to nail it down. Okay?
The last I was told was 200.
200 is giving excess to keep operating until the next.
Right,
budget.
to bind over until July 1st, I think.
Yeah. Well, see, now that whole scope of the works is changing, okay?
Yes.
They're going from that flat fee to basically they're just their cost, on what it's costing,
Hourly.
hourly cost.
Yes.
Okay?
But where the board is at Jaeger is, if this bill isn't paid, then they're not even really.
They're just gonna stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to step out of bounds,
Mhm.
but I mean, I'd be willing to contribute 200 of ARP, but with a very strict understanding that, you know, we have to see before another contribution, serious progress towards this FAA money. Serious progress.
And you just spent 125 grand there
Mhm.
Right,
already.
right. Which we got an
Maybe
additional
what you
4.
could do, your motion is up to 200,000.
Whatever their debts are.
Whatever their debts are, up to 200,000 from ARP.
That would handle it. Okay.
I'm good with that.
And that way, we can determine exactly what that is.
Right. Well, but yeah, I mean,
Okay?
we've done brought this airport to the dance, we can't walk away now.
Mhm.
So, but if that can at least make us secure through the December 31st, I'd like to do that at least.
Yeah, let's, I've tried to work with Dominic, she's very nice.
Mhm.
But with her situation with
Yeah,
the auditor right now, she can't blow it.
Understood.
Okay.
Well, maybe just going forward.
And it will.
Yeah.
Going forward, it
Yeah.
looks better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this has to be, kind of like what you said about the sidewalk fund and the school fund. This is it.
This is
Okay.
it.
Okay.
This is it.
Well, while y'all are thinking about that, you asked me about the building commission.
Yes.
There's a statutory provision, just
Okay.
keep that in the back of your
Thank
mind, for just general information. What they do with surplus funds.
Mhm.
Okay.
Who's gonna bill us?
The Nicholas County Airport Authority,
Okay.
right? And then they'll pay the bill again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we can write a check to their account. That'd be
Yeah, okay.
proper.
And that project out there has come a long ways in the last 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely.
It was
Yes, I
also-
don't want to take away from the project.
It was
You are
also like the park out here that had been let go.
correct.
It was a mess when I came onto the commission. We started working on
Some
that.
invoices are really disaster.
Okay, total
No,
mess.
we'll get it, yeah. So I'll amend my motion to, an amount up to $200,000 of ARP funds,
To keep us current.
with an itemized billing to the commission from the Nicholas County Airport Authority of what they need to make them whole through December 31st of 2022.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? You got anyone?
No. And I do have the check register, I do have everything that was spent that I'm auditing right now to see where all this money went.
Understood. Okay.
All right. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone against? The motion does carry. Okay.
Next on the list, of course, it's been a time coming, so I hope that it's not found as any sort of a surprise, but in the new 911 center, while I believe in current market rate values, this commission has saved the people of this county, I feel well over $5 million.
Yeah.
And not having to build a new facility with all of these regulations that we, that we are bound by. Director McGinnis and Commissioner Chapman are both doing excellent work trying to do everything we can to make this project as reasonable. And it seems like they're both making good progress, so I appreciate them both. But all that being said, you know, we got a $3 million loan we're gonna have to pay. Because that's for the facility and for so much of the equipment. And so Director McGinnis did give the commission there 2 months back the surrounding counties' landline fee rates, and we were the lowest. We have not raised this since 2017.
That would be correct.
Yeah, because it was, I was on the commission yet.
That was in my first year or so.
Okay, well, yeah, when I can tell
Raised
you,
it then.
I can tell you
Okay.
exactly. It was in December 28th of 2017 was last time this was raised,
That was
so
my first
on
year.
5 years. And this is a rate increase proposed of $3.50 to $4.75.
So basically, it's $1.25 raise.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And that is a monthly fee on people's landline bills. Some people have reached out with concerns and questions and said they would just cancel their landline and pay their cell phone bill. I will, just for the public's acknowledgement. The state already bills cell phone line fees.
Yes.
So either way, and I mean, here's the deal. I mean, I understand, you know, it's an extra $1.25 a month. But, you know, whenever you're talking about the kind of homeland security services and emergency services that this county is required to provide, just like other counties are, and most counties, quite frankly, are not. And it concerns me of what surrounding counties are and are not doing, that we need to be adequately equipped, nothing extravagant. You know, we bought a new side-by-side, but 3/4 of that was paid for by community groups. We bought essentially a fire truck for $17,000. I mean, you know, it's not like we're buying, there are no Wonder Wagons anymore, needless to say, of $140,000 SUVs. So again, nothing changes in the ordinance. It is just as it was approved before, just with the rate increase of $1.25 to a new amount of $4.75. And what this does is it brings the total wireline fees, collections, projection of $408,000 a year. And that's a projection. We don't know what it'll end up being. But with as many services as we are involved in, and as we continue our discussion, and I understand it's on our agenda concerning ambulance service in the county, we cannot have an underfunded Homeland Security budget right now until we figure out what we're gonna have to do. So between the center, all emergency services, namely EMS services, I feel that this is conservative at best of a request.
This is part of our basic things that people need in a true emergency, okay? And we have to have those things, okay? And what we're talking about here is people's lives, okay? And the more efficient this department is, the better funded it is as far as having facilities and things. You know, let me stick a thing on Richwood again, you're countywide to have that. And, you know, I'm speaking for myself. Had I not had, at one point in time, the Richwood Hospital there, I probably wouldn't be here today, okay? Because I would have been DOA, okay, with the arrhythmia I had, okay? And this means a lot, okay, for you to have some of these facilities, to have the access to get care when it's critically needed, okay? And time is the issue there, okay? So that's something that we do need to stay abreast of. And do the best we can for our county.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We have a lot of responsibility. We have a lot of responsibility.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading of the proposed amendment E911 landline fee ordinance as presented here this morning,
Okay.
and consider this to be the first reading. And after this motion, I'd like to set a schedule of the following events.
Okay.
So the first reading's by title only.
Correct.
Do you know the motion for that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's.
All right, so I need, all those in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against that motion? It does carry. Okay.
And what I'd like to do is have this available effective today, available in the Nicholas County Commission office as well as the Department of Homeland Security and Management's office for public review. The ordinance by code does require a 30 to 60 day notice of the public hearing. And so we cannot meet that by the second meeting of January. It will not be the full 30 days.
30 days.
And so what I want to propose as the schedule is that the second reading not take place until the January 18th meeting. The public hearing be first on the agenda, February 1st, 2023 at 9:15 a.m. The third reading be immediately after a 30-minute public hearing on February 1st at 9:45 a.m. And the notifications of public hearing be in the Chronicle and any other we have to put it in. The addition dates of January 19th and January 26th
Okay. For it to be publicized.
for the 2-week publication notice.
Yeah.
But, you know, also probably in next week's edition, the Chronicle, which would be the 29th, thank you. Go ahead and put a notice out as well of the public hearing on February 1st at 9:15.
You're gonna do it not early next month.
And then we'll have a 2-week public notice also in the Chronicle as well.
Okay.
So, if
All right.
that's okay with everyone. And then, the LEPC is updating what all they are doing concerning, they have a state grant that they received. Make sure I have enough copies of this before I give them all out. And what they have done is they have reviewed and amended their bylaws. Very simple. I'd like to ask Director McGinnis to speak to this because he knows well beyond what I ever will on this. I take it from the understanding of it, very standard procedure for bylaws for the group, expectations of meeting schedule, stuff of that nature, but this gets them in compliance with their state grant.
Yes. Last night we concluded our 2022 planning meetings, which met all state qualifications for not only this year's grants, but 2023 grants as well.
And that's an amount of $3,000?
$3,000.
$3,000.
Yes.
That helps support
Okay,
the
that,
LEPC.
yes. After the meeting last night, I met with Teresa White, which is our regional liaison through the State Emergency Management Office, where it is our turn to host a drill with the hospital. So that will be being planned sometime this spring. I will be working with Summersville Regional on that to plan, and one of the things that the LEPC statewide is working on right now is all radiological incidents. So that's what we'll be planning on that. So once we get that set up, I'll notify you all on that drill. But to update these bylaws, that covers us from here on out. They won't need to be reviewed or updated for another 3 years. And that's just what the state looks at. 3 years from now, if we're in good shape, we don't have to do anything, just submit it again for approval. And that's where we're at with that.
further discussion?
And one other thing I'd like to add, I know this ties on with our landline fees, okay? The new program and technology that we're getting will also tie in with our LEPC, because every business in Nicholas County who has to submit a Tier 2 will automatically go into our new system and will be flagged on our new computer and CAD system if for any hazardous materials that's being stored on that. So all this is going to be tied in together.
Now, do you need the commission to sign off on this,
Yes.
Yes.
So we need to go in and have a motion for this thing. This approval.
Yes, I mean, unless you all would like more time to review or anything, I mean, like I said, it's very boilerplate. Just gets everything updated on the books. I'm willing to make a motion to approve these bylaws as presented here this morning, and the commission sign its approval this morning.
Okay.
And probably actually need to take the copies back to give
Yeah.
multiple copies as Bobby and the LEPC.
Okay.
So only at least 3 to 7.
All right. Any more discussion? Okay.
one to attach to the minutes to be recorded?
And so, yeah, so we need to sign all 4 of ours.
Okay. All right. All those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against the motion, just carried. Okay. Looks like the next group is canceled. So, Cassie, you're up.
All right.
Yeah, we're right on schedule.
That worked out really well. Okay, so we have 2 items, maybe 3 for you today. If it's okay, I'll start with the Hinkle Mountain Broadband Project. So I have 2 items for you on that note. One is a change of scope for the project. So initially, when the application was submitted, it also included the area of Little Laurel. However, after the design was complete and that sort of thing, we learned that Little Laurel was actually served. They're served with what is considered like sufficient broadband speeds. So that was removed from the scope, but it was just never formally submitted. And so that's what we're doing now.
Okay,
It's just pretty much clarifying that.
that's fine.
So that's one broadband item. The other is the environmental assessment for the project. And I realized, Patty, the final page of the actual signature page for the assessment, it didn't print. If I email that to you, can you print it out? Sure. Awesome, thank you so much. But all of the environmental clearances have been received for the project, all of the appropriate, environmental agencies have been consulted and that sort of thing. There's a finding of no significant impact, which is a really good thing. But what we will need is the commission to approve the environmental assessment, and then after your approval, we'll actually advertise that in the newspaper, and allow, any additional comment that, if there are any concerned citizens or any other agencies or anyone who's interested.
Okay.
And this is all part of the budget, not a financial request of
Yes.
any kind?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I mean, I'm willing to make a motion to approve both requests concerning the broadband project, both the change of scope as well as the environmental review
Okay.
as presented here this morning.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against that motion, does carry. You have
sorry.
Birchford.
Okay, so this is an interesting request, and I'm gonna
Okay.
try my best to explain it. So the Birchford PSD's generator project is essentially fully funded. The West Virginia Water Development Authority is providing a 25% match, and that is fully committed. The remainder, the remaining 75% comes from FEMA, administered by the State Emergency Management Division. Essentially, it's funded in the exact same manner that the Craigsleville project was funded. So, as Commissioner Chapman brought up in a prior discussion this morning, it makes sense to try to exhaust all other sources of funding before, a state or other, so you mentioned, if there are any other sources of funding, we would prefer, those be utilized in the commission. And so that's, the state does the same thing. But it makes more sense at the inception of a project than after all of the other funds have been committed. So this is kind of like backing up, and the state is asking if the PSD has any ability to contribute funds to the generator project, or if any of the, local entities, which, really the county commission is the only other option besides the PSD. So they're asking us to exhaust all other avenues of funding, but the project does have all of its funding commitments. So,
we need to give you a hard no.
yes, yeah. It's, I apologize. I had this kind of like thought out in my head a little bit better. It's kind of hard to explain.
Okay.
Well, no,
Yeah.
well, right.
We
well,
did this
it's-
recently on something.
Yeah, it's a complex issue, but I mean, I understand. And with the utmost love and respect for our friends in Birch River,
We just don't have.
we're not saying no for the project, but for this specific request, I'll make a motion to deny this funding request and encourage them to continue their requests elsewhere, including the state.
Okay, I agree. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor of that?
Aye.
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 Anyone against that motion does carry. Okay. Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you so much. And Patty, do you want me to email you this form now, or I don't want
Do
to?
they need to sign off on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll,
We can take a break. We've got 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break then.
great.
Okay, folks, now we have with us Eric Miarka. That's right, sir. With Savion regarding the pilot project, which is payment in lieu of taxes project for the Nicholas County Solar Project. You guys have the floor.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Atkins. I appreciate it. As usual, thanks to the commission for hosting us and for giving us the opportunity. I'm just going to do a brief overview since we've been here before. We don't need to get into all the details, but I will kind of give a brief overview of the project, the pilot, the lease, and what we're seeking here today. But in short, what we have agreed to over the previous meetings and what's been agreed to with the Board of Education on Monday is to enter into the pilot agreement, which is the payment in lieu of taxes. That's you'll see there's multiple parties on that agreement that need to sign off on it, including the Board of Education. And then the lease agreement, which is between the project company and the county. So the action that we're seeking here today is just approval from the commission to enter into those two agreements. But backing up a little bit, this is for the purpose of our tax treatment on the Nicholas County Solar Project for our personal property that is going to be installed on the old reclaimed A.T. Massey mine up outside of Gilboa. It's a 250 megawatt solar project that's going to generate electricity and inject it into the First Energy grid and be distributed freely from there. We are a utility scale solar energy development company. We specialize in building, owning and operating utility scale solar projects all over the country. We are owned by Shell Oil. We're a fully owned subsidiary of Shell, and we've been developing a portfolio of projects that we call Coal to Solar, where we are siting these projects on former surface mines in Appalachia, and this is one of those mines. So we see it as a great opportunity for a creative reuse of these former mine lands, bringing tax revenue back to the communities where we're siting these projects, and of course bringing construction jobs for the large construction effort that's going to take to build this. I mentioned that this is a 250 megawatt project. That's enough to generate electricity for about 17,000 plus homes in West Virginia. Likely we're going to be phasing this into two construction phases, with the first phase starting construction in 2024 and being operational in 2025. And then the second phase will be a little bit behind that, maybe a year behind that schedule. So we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that this project can move forward. There's a lot of real estate work that we need to resolve on the site. There's mining that's still happening up there underneath the site, so we have to make sure that we understand what the settlement and subsidence is going to look like. So a lot of challenges for us to overcome, but this is a very well-developed project. There's a lot of opportunity here, and we're very excited about it. We did recently receive our State Public Service Commission approval to move forward with the project, so that was a very big milestone for the project as well. So specific to the pilot, As I mentioned, there's two agreements here. One is the pilot agreement, which is the payment in lieu of taxes. That's the one that has the multiple parties that need to sign on to it. There is annual payment, annual payments associated with it that must be made each year by the project company once we reach commercial operation. And then similarly on the lease, that's just an agreement between the county and the project company. The two go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. That's where, we've discussed how the equipment is going to be transferred to the county and then leased back to the project company. And there's also an upfront payment associated when we start construction that's associated with the lease, as well as the annual payments once we reach commercial operation. And those are both payments are based on the size of the project, how big we're able to build it, with the goal being the full 250. So with that, the only thing I'll point out is that you'll see under the lease, there's there's an attachment here. Attachment 1 is the facility. We need to, and Exhibit A to the lease is the equipment. So, Chris, I think our plan was that when we come back to update the commission on project progress in maybe April, the spring, or next spring, we will update these exhibits to detail exactly what all of the equipment is. It'll be things like solar panels, inverters, all of the equipment that we're going to need to build the project. That's going to be added to this exhibit. And then the facility itself is going to be a legal description of the area. That's correct. Yes, yeah. And we are doing a survey right now, so we'll have a full meets and bounds legal description here shortly. But we'll add that to this as well, just to button up this document. So let's see, what else is there? I think that's it for the overview. Anything else to add there? No, I don't believe so.
Covered it very well.
Okay. Any questions on the two documents or what we're seeking today?
No, but I'd like a request.
Okay.
While you guys are surveying there, can you find where that plane crash was and please monument that
Yeah.
as a gift to the county?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last time. We do have an archaeological resource crew. It's also been on site, and they flagged it. I don't think they didn't. I don't think it was within the project boundary, so they didn't pinpoint it. But we can get them to do that.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the bomber crash site, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 5.
And
Okay.
maybe while you got this project going with concrete crews, maybe we could get a little monument built there or something.
I think we can do that.
Yeah.
And we have on the historic landmark commission, a member that's very familiar with the site. So if you
Okay.
have any questions or anything, Ken Summers,
He wrote a letter to the Public Service Commission,
Right.
and do you guys meet regularly? Is it like-
monthly.
Okay, when,
I did clarify a lot of questions last week at their meeting.
Okay, so they have
That's
another
right,
one in
that's
January, do you know?
Yes, it'll be the 3rd Thursday at 11:30 a.m.
Third Thursday?
Yes, so
I don't
that'll be
know.
January 19 at 11:30 a.m. And they meet in the WVU building, which is the blue building across the street from the courthouse.
Okay. Maybe it'd be good, I'll talk to Mr. Summers and see if we can get on the agenda once our consultant has the location and just talk about monumenting it, maybe coming up with some sort of plaque or signage that we can put there.
Well, and they were just concerned, and they were quoting which I know you know all about this, FERC policy 106, that's for any kind of archaeological discovery, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't even think that this project gets near it, but I'll clarify, so if it's not even near it, they shouldn't have a problem.
It wasn't, and I think we clarified that with the State Historic Preservation Office or State Historic Resource Commission. But either way, if it's close enough, as long as we have the landowner's permission, I don't see why we couldn't, and I don't see why we'd have a problem getting their permission to go in there and put up some signage. And is it even accessible? Do you know if there's?
We don't know where it is.
Okay.
We just know it's down that area.
Yeah.
So I thought if you.
Mr.
found
Summers
it and
supposedly knows the ridge it's on,
If
at
nothing
least.
else,
if
we
not
need to
even
make a little
closer.
hiking trail into it or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually just texted you
I
the
like that
contact
idea.
list for the
Okay.
Historic Landmark Commission.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So you'll see the president there
But
is
then again, it does.
Bob Johnson, the contact.
Okay.
It did do Lexington.
Yeah, they are. Clarify the thing. Okay. All right.
Good.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
So what is it you're asking the commission to do exactly today?
To approve these two documents and sign them.
But you're gonna add to them. I mean, they're not complete. My concern is they're not complete.
I think we can do an addendum that would be executed later on to add the description of the personal property as well as the meets and bounds of the facility.
I don't have a problem with tentatively approving this, subject to final approval when the document's complete.
The pilot agreement, we did consider that, and that's a good point. The pilot agreement, there's nothing that needs to be added to that. We don't need to add any facility descriptions or meets and bound legal descriptions.
That's correct.
We could, if the commission's amenable, move forward with the pilot. That's the one that the Board of Education needs to sign, the other parties need to sign, and then just hold off on signing the lease until we have those.
Well, I don't have a problem with, I mean, if you need their approval to move forward with it, I think we can tentatively approve it, subject to final approval when the final document is complete. That'll help you move forward with it. Otherwise, it may be better just to wait on the lease.
Yeah, I think that the tentative approval would give us certainty and give us enough.
And that's
assurance
subject
move
to what
forward.
again?
A final complete
Final
document.
documentation.
So you would tentatively approve this so they can move forward, subject to approval of a final and complete document when it's ready.
Yeah. What about for the pilot? Would you feel comfortable moving forward with just the pilot agreement for now then? Okay. Yeah, and I think that's fine, because the pilot agreement is the one that has the other parties that need to sign off on it too, so I think that one is I don't want to say more critical, but it has other folks that need to sign it,
It's
so.
the school.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we sign the pilot agreement and accept the pilot agreement for the.
Yeah, I think
solar.
separate the motions, yeah, but I appreciate that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion does carry. Okay.
Thank you very much.
And then I'll make a motion concerning the lease between the County Commission of Nicholas County, West Virginia, and the Nicholas County Solar Project LLC. Tentative approval, subject to the final completion of documentation concerning the equipment, lease information, and so forth that we've discussed here today that are still being worked out. But again, a tentative approval of this lease to allow them to continue working and moving forward.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? The motion also carries.
Thank you very much, Jim, I appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And I think by the next time we come to do a presentation in April, we'll have all of the equipment known. By that point, we'll have the results of the survey, and we can hopefully button up the lease at that time too.
Very good.
All right, thank you very much.
And what I've got here is 3 execution copies of the pilot. I will leave those with you gentlemen for execution, and as we discussed, you'll provide them an envelope back and mail it.
Okay.
And then you can mail them, then they'll mail them back.
Yeah.
Concerning the lease, we don't sign anything other than just saying that we gave it as approval, or do we sign what we have before us today?
I would just say, and your minutes will reflect that you have given tentative approval for it.
Is that acceptable
That's
to you
good,
all?
yeah. that-
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Just
But the
the
pilot
pilot
itself, we can
pilot.
execute, yes.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I got here. Or 3 execution.
Okay.
So, yeah, so if, I'll go get the mailer, and if you can help us get the signatures from the Board of Education, the sheriff, and the assessor.
Yes.
Mail them back to us, and then we'll sign it. I can't sign it, unfortunately, I don't have authority to sign, but, and then we'll send you back 2 fully executed copies, one for the Board of Education and one for the county, and we'll keep one for ourselves too.
Okay. Very
All right.
good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
see you.
We're doing the people's work, right?
Ready to hit my gavel.
Good, good.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I know the 10:45 appointment is vacant, but I had a couple of quick things. I noticed that the Old Main Foundation did also receive a grant from the Nicholas County Community Foundation alongside the park. They're having a meeting on January 17th. Part of their grant from the Community Foundation did include flooring, but we're not sure if that's what they're requesting of the commission or not. And so just to put on the record that, you know, we're still active, et cetera, just, we gotta wait and see what they have already received.
Did you do the moisture test?
I did not do a moisture test.
Okay, we need to do that before we can promise that.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I can already tell you what's gonna be even before I do it.
Right, but see what you're working with, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like I said, just, I want to put that on the record. Nettie Levacy PSD, they sent me an email. They found a example of a backhoe piece of equipment that they would like to request of the commission. It'd be my request, of course, it's not on the agenda, so we can't vote on it anyways, that we table that request until we have a meeting with the board of the Nettie Legacy PSD. I would like to have an update of where they are on projects, where they are on finances, and where their position is, because we've been waiting. I want a formal final position on where they are on the assistance of management and leadership that this commission has repeatedly offered to see where they stand. Because I do not feel comfortable without knowing those things, even considering a financial or equipment request.
Yeah, okay.
So just to put that on the record. And then also concerning a personnel matter of the Nicholas County Commission, I would like to request an executive session that we discuss that here before we close the meeting.
Okay. All right, so all those in favor of going into executive session for this personnel matter?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone
And
against?
for clarification, that is pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-3 and 4, and it is 10:52 a.m.
Okay.
I
All right.
retain legal counsel on the room.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make that motion pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-3 and 4. For the public's benefit, it is 11:18 a.m. There were no decisions made during executive session, and I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion does carry. We're out of executive session.
I have a few more quick things. The Mountain State Baptist Church, of course, they had the drive-through nativity through Summersville, started at the red light, went all the way around the old U-Save and back towards City Hall. They, this year again, approached me and asked if we could use the courthouse lawn. I said yes. So they actually sent us a nice little ornament. And I'd actually like to give that to Lloyd for your tree as president. I think that'd be fitting. And then you'll just see here a number of the participants and church members and Pastor Mark and his wife Cheryl Sechrist signed, just thanking the commission for the use of the lawn. So thank you to them for doing it. And we got to thank Baby Dog for her letter from the governor's mansion.
Yeah.
And a little recipe for puppy paw print ornaments. Or not a recipe, I'm sorry. It's usually cooking. But anyway, so there's that.
Yeah.
Commissioner's choice of the Christmas lights at the park. Each commissioner drove through and looked at the displays, and what did we decide?
Well, we decided, but it was already taken, so.
Right.
We would,
Right.
we
The
would like
appropriate, right?
The one that was in front of the Craigsville cabin, I think, the flying airplane.
Peanuts
thing.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Peanuts Christmas from the cartoon. So they'll be the recipient, that group or individual will be the recipient of the $300 Commissioner's Choice. We congratulate them and look forward to see who the mayor chooses for Commissioner's pick and who the public picks for their awards on top of that. Judge Callahan's office notified me, and John's getting ready to talk about this Friday in particular, that there will be no court cases on this Friday or next Friday, and that he is willing to permit the commission to close the courthouse for the entire day, both Friday, December 23rd and Friday, December 30th. Right now, the state is at a half day. You don't have any closings or anything that you all want to have. And I'd like to support that option.
As far as
Just closing the courthouse all day instead of closing it then.
on 23rd. which
On
would
the
be
23rd and the 30th.
Friday. Okay. All right, so we have a point of motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone against? The motion does carry. Okay.
And then Director McGinnis wanted to address the commission.
And I'm glad that was brought up because that was one of my topics to discuss. We are under the state of emergency for preparedness. Nicholas County is doing the same right now. I've contacted all the fire departments. I'm working on several churches now. From Thursday night at midnight till Saturday morning at 8, we're going to have warming stations set up throughout the county. So that's in the works. Right now, they're looking at power outages and icy conditions for Nicholas County. So we're just we're getting ahead of the game and getting that in the process as we speak. The next weather update for the state will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So we will post that on our Facebook page, as well as we will send that out on our Nixle alert system for upcoming changes. So, but my big thing was Friday morning here, it's supposed to be real bad. Wind chills up to minus 25. So that's what we're looking at right now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I will keep you all updated. I've got a lot of response from the fire departments already. I've already got contact with 2 churches. I've also sent Mayor Schaefer a message as well. So I will keep you all updated, but that's where we're at now.
Okay. Very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have a comment.
Well, with all that being said, I guess I'll be the one to start. Of course, being the last meeting of the 2022 Commission agenda, I think it's appropriate that we spend some time acknowledging Commissioner Atkins. For his many years of service to this county, Commissioner Atkins was elected to the Board of Education. I don't remember the year. I should do the math real quick.
2004.
In 2004. And over a 12-year span, thank you, served the citizens of this county in that capacity and decided to go on to, I wouldn't say greener pastures, because we've had a little bit to do here, haven't we? But come to the commission and has served this county with diligence and respect to the county citizens of Nicholas County in the capacity as the commissioner from the Cherry District. And we appreciate your friendship, we appreciate your leadership, and all of your counsel that you've provided to this commission over the last 6 years.
Thank you.
And that being said, give me a whole slew of things here, but first, I'd like to present to Commissioner Chapman his photograph, his official photograph. What'd I say?
Chapman.
Oh, yeah. You're not allowed to leave. I got a hold of myself, yeah. That is a little more handsome there. But give Commissioner Chapman his photograph to commemorate his 6 years. Commissioner Chapman also has something here, if you'd like to unveil that.
Okay. I'd like to present Lloyd and say a couple of things. I have known Lloyd since I was probably 12. He's been my dentist since I was probably 12. Then when I got to be about 16, I used to have to wash his car. So, and.
You were a hard worker.
Yeah, and he's taught me a lot. The one thing, when we were kids, I grew up with Carolyn. She had the prettiest motorcycle of all of us other guys. We were always jealous of that. But he ends up marrying one of the prettiest girls in the county. And he's been, like I said, my dentist. He's been a great dentist. He's been a great asset to the county. I've learned a lot. He's kind of the one that talked me into running for this position, good or bad. So I'd like to present this plaque on behalf. It says, "The Nicholas County Commission hereby presents to Lloyd K. Atkins, Commissioner, with heartfelt gratitude for your tireless effort in the interest of the County of Nicholas, State of West Virginia, who has served his state, county, and community with unfailing devotion, commitment, loyalty, and dignity. For your leadership, involvement, and concern for the citizens of Nicholas County for better government. This is given as a token of our appreciation for your loyal service and friendship, presented on the 21st day of December, 2022. And it's made out of a real pretty piece of cherry wood."
Thank you so much.
And one last thing.
Well, not one last thing, but when this is over, we're having a lunch for Lloyd at Maloney's, so we invite everybody to come down.
And then Elizabeth and I wanted to do just one little extra thing. We wanted to give a commemorative Honorable Commissioner Atkins license plate to the good commissioner for just a small token of our gratitude.
Thank you so much. I would like to say thank you. As I've always said many times,
thank you is one of those little words that you don't have to say, but it means so much. That you appreciate what you've done. And it speaks volumes. It does so many things to help mankind and help us all get along better, which is what this is all about, okay? And I know that this county's been through a lot in the last 6 years, okay? But all those things help bring us together. And we're all here for the same reason. To make our county a better county, to serve the public. And for me, the last 18 years, it's been an honor to represent my people. And everybody says I'll be in something else. I don't know about that.
We'll find something for you.
But I will still maintain my dental practice, which actually, there's rumor been that closing that for about 15 years already that I was closed, but I'm still there. And it is the what we give, and no one knows what goes into these jobs until you're there. The hours, the meetings, the thoughts, and all the discussions that you go through on making a good decision. Or what you make, or what you think is a good decision at the time, okay? Which sometimes we found out later that we didn't have all the information we needed, okay? Which the public will do that, okay? And anyway, I want to thank the people, most of all, for giving me their trust. And I think that's one of the things that we have to maintain is trust. The people need to trust what you're going to do. And know that you'll do it with their best thoughts in mind. Again, thank you.
I have to say, this is very hard on both of us. I don't think we've slept all week, but I want to thank everyone. It's been an honor to help him. And we love our county.
And you've done a great job too. Absolutely.
I think we're finished.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Okay.